with Netflix continuing their conversion of the games within the Castlevania series with the release of their second series, Castlevania Nocturne, I feel compelled, yet again, to compare what the showrunners have cobbled together in terms of story with the lore of the games it's based on. Nocturne bases its story around the era of Richter Belmont, who debuted in Akumajo Dracula X Rondo, also known as Castlevania Rondo of Blood. But the first season of Nocturne takes lore from other Castlevania titles as well. Thus, for those new fans brought to the franchise strictly from the animated adaptation, or just those with loose knowledge of the games and wanting a primer on the comparisons with the show, I've put together a rundown of Season 1 of Castlevania Nocturne's story versus the lore of the games it's based off of for your ongoing knowledge and entertainment. The setting of Nocturne is something completely original to the show and has little to no basis in the games, apart from the fact it has characters that appear in other Castlevania titles and takes place in the same general time frame as Castlevania Rondo of Blood. There's nothing regarding the French Revolution in Rondo, or any other Castlevania title to date, nor any reference regarding characters' ties to, or opinions of, the socio-political goings-on of Europe or the world, because this is a game series based on the hunting and killing of Dracula and his monsters in a huge castle. While there has been at least one game in the series that features other locations in Europe beyond Romania and its various territories, that being Castlevania Bloodlines, since there was no giant moth princess popping out of the Palace of Versailles or an equivalent in the show's depiction of France, we'll consider it moot. The same goes for the brief setting of Boston, Massachusetts in Episode 1, as no Castlevania to date takes place in the United States or any of the Americas, though the thought of a Belmont with a New England accent absolutely tickles me pink. There are several characters in Castlevania Nocturne that bear names and resemblances to those from the Castlevania games, some stronger than others, and others that are basically in name only. For the sake of brevity, I'll stick to the most relevant similarities and differences with regards to Season 1, since this will be an ongoing series that will likely touch on other comparables later on. The heir to the Belmont clan in the late 1700s, Richter is the strongest Belmont up to that point to fight in the ages-long war against Dracula. We are never given any details about his parents, nor any tragedies that he may have faced in his earlier life. Richter is an incredibly skilled fighter in the games and employs martial arts into his fighting, and while not having traditional magical abilities, he does sport strong holy powers that enhance his weapons and is able to item crash with supercharged attacks in both Castlevania Rondo of Blood and its SNES reimagining, Dracula X. He's not raised with Maria, or even meets her until Rondo of Blood when he frees her from her kidnapping by Dracula's forces, and they team up. In the games, Maria is of the Renard family and is first seen in Castlevania Rondo of Blood as a 12-year-old girl of aristocratic birth. A distant relative of the Belmonts, she does have strong spiritual power that is unusual for a girl of her age, that manifests as summoning magical beasts based on the four guardians of Chinese mythos. She's plucky, adventurous, and while she does have a strong sense of justice and wanting to do the right thing, it is from the lens of an otherwise innocent girl, rather than the cynical perspective of a teenager wrapped up in the socioeconomic upheaval. Anette is the name of Richter's beloved, who debuted in Rondo of Blood and also Dracula X for the SNES. She's from the town of Algeba, of Simon's Quest fame, and is of higher social standing based on her appearances, with either purple or blonde hair depending on the game. She has no magical abilities, nor fighting skills that we know of in the games. So basically, she's a completely different character from the Anette in Nocturne. Olro makes his debut in Castlevania Symphony of the Night as a vampire living within Dracula's castle in his own private quarters that he has complete autonomy over, signifying he has a close relationship with Dracula. Based on the fictional Count Orlok of 1922 silent film Nosferatu, Olro is a strong vampire who casts spells and can transform into a large, green, lizard-like creature. In the novel Reminiscence of the Divine Abyss, Olrox is shown to have a clever and manipulative personality and behaves pragmatically, similar to his Netflix counterpart, although his Netflix counterpart definitely has better hair. In the Castlevania series, Erzsébet, or Elizabeth's, surname is Bartley in the English versions of the games, though the character is based off of the historical noblewoman Erzsébet Bathory of Hungary, and is named as such in Japan. Elizabeth of the games is a vampire countess who claims to be the niece of Count Dracula, who was killed in 1614 after being found killing and torturing young women for their blood. She's resurrected by Drolta in the early 1900s and assassinates the Prince of Austria to help start World War I to harvest souls to help resurrect her uncle, kickstarting the events of Castlevania Bloodlines. She has no connection to the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet in the games, or any other gods that we're aware of. Drolta Senuez, like Elizabeth, is based on the historical figure of the same name. She appears in Castlevania Bloodlines as a witch in league with Bartley, who conspires with her in the 1600s and was subsequently executed for her crimes. However, she either survives her execution or is revived, and subsequently resurrects her mistress to enact a plan to raise Count Dracula. Like Elizabeth, Drolta is not affiliated with the goddess Sekhmet at all. We're also not certain in the games if she's also a vampire, but she is not depicted as such, nor is she a sexy succubus. In Rondo of Blood, Tara makes her debut as an NPC who is kidnapped alongside Maria, Anette, and fourth character Iris by Dracula's forces and hidden away until it's time to sacrifice them to the vampire lord. Tara is a nun, likely a novice who has yet to take her vows, who is eventually rescued by either Richter or Maria, and believes them to be sent by God in her desperation. She's not related to any of the other Castlevania characters that we're aware of, and shows no prior knowledge of the occult nor any magical ability, aside from having a necklace she can give you that can keep red skeletons from resurrecting in the Rondo remake, Dracula X Chronicles. Oh hey, someone remembered Juiced. Juiced Belmont is the protagonist of Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance, the grandson of Simon Belmont, and the heir to the Belmont clan who fights a wraith of Dracula in the year 1748 to rescue his friends Liddy and Maxim. He's both adept with the whip as a weapon, while also being an incredibly prodigious magic user, using spellbooks to access a variety of elemental attacks. In the games, it's not actually confirmed if he's Richter's grandfather, though it's assumed to be the case in much of the fandom. The Netflix animated series, both the original series and Nocturne, have a loose manual in terms of what powers and weaknesses vampires have. In the Castlevania games, vampires are hurt by direct sunlight, crosses, holy water and ash, silver, and garlic, amongst other things. While Nocturne gives some weight to these, it's inconsistent, even when compared to the original series. Crosses seem to have varying degrees of effectiveness, as while the vampire of Blanc is repelled by and burned by iron crosses, Drolta and Erzsébet can walk before a large cross on an altar and not be phased. Trevor makes mention in Season 4 of the OG series that crosses disorient vampires, but don't necessarily hurt them otherwise. Vampires are also shown to be incredibly strong in both the Castlevania games and the OG Netflix show, but in Nocturne we see Richter fist-fighting a powered-up Drolta. This very well could be in reference to Richter's martial arts abilities from the games, though in the series it seems inconsistent. And that's it in terms of comparisons between the games and the first season of Castlevania Nocturne, with the exception of the inclusion of Divine Bloodlines from Rondo of Blood, which is super nice, and I really hope they include more game music in the future seasons. Admittedly, there's not a whole lot in this first season that really ties to the lore of the games. There's no Dracula, there's no Dracula's castle, heck, there's no castle period. You have some loose connective tissue, but the season largely relies on an original narrative, which is fine. Unless you were expecting an actual full Castlevania adaptation. But hey, I'm sure we'll get into a proper Rondo of Blood storyline in Season 2, right? Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more Castlevania lore and future comparison content.